Imagine this, you threw world's biggest party on planet Earth and 5 billion people showed up and guessed fourth of a ticket that worth more than $32,000. And by the end of the night, you walked away with $13 billion. That's not a fantasy, that's FIFA's business plan. Let's start at the top. FIFA, the Swiss-based organization that run the world's most watched sporting event, doesn't make money every year. It worked in a 4-year cycle. For the 2022 Qatar cycle, the FIFA generated $7.57 billion, and for the American cycle, the FIFA is projected to get revenue $13 billion, which is almost double. So where does all the money comes from? The biggest source of income for FIFA is the broadcasting right. Every network that shows a FIFA match in, for example, in Canada, UK, Japan, Brazil, or anywhere else in the world, have to pay FIFA for the privilege. For 2026, the number is expected to rise to 4 billion people, as 5 billion people are expected to sink in. Let's take a moment to imagine 5 billion people. That's crazy. Then there were sponsorship, Adidas, Coca-Cola, Visa, Hyundai, and for the 2026 cycle, Saudi Arabia state-owned company, oil company to be exact, are also expected to sponsor the FIFA matches. And combined, this corporate giant pay $1.8 billion. Next up, the ticket sale and hospitality. For Qatar 2022, the FIFA earned $929 million from the match day revenue. But 2026, with 104 matches across 16 different cities, up from 16 in Qatar, that number are expected to explode nearly $3 billion. Some Category 1 final tickets are already selling $32,000 on the resale market, and FIFA already removed the middleman, taking the profit toward themselves. Finally, licensing, merchandise, video game, and collectibles have generated $769 million in the Qatar cycle. All in one, FIFA is structured as a non-profit, but a non-profit pulling off $13 billion. That's a different kind of non-profit. Now, here's the story get interesting and a little uncomfortable. You might assume the host country is sitting on a gold mine. After all, a billion tourists and millions of cameras pointing at your skyline. You might think the money is pouring in. Not exactly. Qatar spent nearly $220 billion preparing for 2022 FIFA World Cup. New stadium, new highway, hotels, a new metro line. A country reshaped in 12 years. Then how much revenue did Qatar generated? About $1.56 billion from tourism and FIFA payment. That's a staggering lower amount. Brazil, on the other hand, spent $15 billion for the 2014 World Cup and new stadium costing double in the mid-construction. Economics had promised a 5x return, but Brazil economy contracted sharply in the following year. For South America 2010 World Cup, they actually recouped 1/10 of the money they have invested. Part of the problem is structural. When you sign a deal with FIFA, you agreed to give tax exemption to FIFA and all of its sponsors. Every jersey, every hotel booking, every beer that is linked to FIFA, your government particularly doesn't see a cent of the tax. Germany handed over $272 million just to host 2006 World Cup. So who actually makes money? The hotel owner, the property investor and airlines, the people who actually have money already. And here's a question economists keep asking. If hosting loses money, then why does every powerful nation fights the right to host the FIFA World Cup? Toward soft power. Qatar has never been qualified for World Cup before they won the bidding war. They weren't buying a stadium, they were after the 5 billion people audience. The chance to reshape how the world sees them, and it worked. Research published have shown Qatar receives $30 billion of foreign investment after 2022. Germany, 2006. It is considered one of the greatest national image transformation in modern history. The boring, rigid German image evaporated on the world stage, replaced by youth, vibrant image of this country. Infrastructure also matters. Qatar Metro, Doha Airport expansion, Brazil Airport overhaul. This thing outlasts the tournament. The economic payoff is slow, diffuse, and hard to measure, but it's real. The 2026 World Cup, now happening across US, Mexico, Canada, changed the story in a very different way. Because these three nations already have infrastructure, so the risk of building White Elephant Stadium is much lower. Tourism economists project a $9 billion GDP boost across North America. But here's the bottom line. World Cup is the greatest money-making machine in sports. But the money flow upward, not outward. The FIFA cashes the checks, the sponsor get the exposure they need, and the host nation get all the cameras they actually required, and a complicated financial hangover. That's the beautiful, brutal economy of this beautiful game. Subscribe for more content.